Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode. Today we are going to test out materials. For this video we are going to test out a pen which I can only identify as an SSB 200, a Pigma BB Japan, a Edding 1200, a Stabilo Sensor F Fineliner, a size 2 Vincent van Gogh Synthetic 976 traditional brush, and the pen I used for the metered prime fan art, which wasn't the best. The reason why you are going to use several materials is to have broad measurement of how the material reacts and which material works best for you. At first we are going to make our sketch drawing. I just do this with a regular pencil HB on regular printer paper. Nothing too fancy. The drawing I'm going to make is an avatar, because I'm well overdue for an avatar update. I make several options, but I stick with the first option quite quickly, because I saw more potential in that drawing. I later on scanned it in my computer and made it the right file. This file needs to be an RGB file, in order to print it out in the way I want it to. Then I flip it horizontal so it's mirrored. That way you can see the mistakes you made in your drawing more easily. After I flipped it horizontal, I start editing the things I don't like about the drawing or maybe rethink later. I also redraw some stuff to make the lines more apparent in the drawing, or maybe change some things on the way, like the way I look in the eyes. After I've done editing, I flip it backwards horizontal again and I start editing the colors, because we are not going to print it out in a grey scale kind of tone. That's why we need it to be RGB. If you enter Ctrl B, you will see this kind of fenster. Make it a cyan kind of look. One cyan full, then one dark blue full, then a cyan full twice again. Then I make the saturation 100% and a little bit more greenish, so turquoise kind of thing. I save this file before I complete the editing and print file, because I want to have the bright blue file as well, without the highlights. Then I make the highlights very high for 85%, and then I print it out and we have our template to start our drawing. We start off with the Edding 1200 fineliner. Now I initially thought that this fineliner wouldn't give me the result I wished for. I think this kind of fineliner is fine for sketching and maybe designing a character or whatever, but this line really lacks some dynamic and character that I search for. It was a decent pen, or more like marker kind of pen to use, but I would use it more for writing or sketching when I'm at work or something. It's not a thing I would choose. Next up is the Pigma BB Sakura Japan. Now at first, when I was inking this, I thought, oh, this is going smoothly, the lines are smooth. But yeah, I also rushed the drawing more than I initially wanted to. I don't know if I'm going to use this. I'm going to wait for the result of the traditional brush and the other brush that's new, the Nameless one. So let's find out if the end result will be satisfying. For the Stabilo Sensor F, I wanted to reconstruct a feel I always try to get with either the traditional pen or the traditional brush. So I first outlined where I wanted the thin thickness, and then I went over it to thicken that line with the same Fineliner, because I restricted myself for one material only. I liked how it turned out, and also the smoothness that this Fineliner has. Stabilo is always a brand that has some really stable quality. So if you're someone who likes to draw with Fineliner, this one was a 0.5 or 0.3 pointer. I would recommend it. Maybe you like an even thinner line, but I think this is sufficient. If you scan the drawing in on 1200 dpi or 900, it's really thin enough. If you go too thin, the scanner won't notice it anyway. But I really like this Fineliner. Let's just keep it at that. Now we have the traditional brush, the Vincent van Gogh Synthetic number 2976. This is really my go-to nowadays for inking comics and inking my character designs. It's really something I really enjoy. I've gotten better in the years. Now I do need to say that inking with a traditional brush needs practice. I'm not perfect at it yet, but I found a way that I can work decently with it. I'm not inking when I'm not feeling well with this kind of material because it's really sensitive, and you notice when inking goes bad really fast. But when it goes well, you will get such a beautiful line work and an awesome original to maybe sell or frame in for yourself at home as well. Now I'm not meaning I'm going to frame this in, and I don't want that, but it really felt good. It felt like a home match or just coming home. This was just great. The traditional ink pen, however, was kind of a different story. Now, if I look back on the end result, it wasn't that bad, but while inking this, it was very frustrating. It wasn't something I would do again with the same ink pen. The paper wasn't really matching the pen. It got stuck a lot. It had splatters. Because of my growing annoyance, I made a stupid mistake with my hand and I went over wet ink. Normally I have a whole system, but I was so frustrated. I wanted this drawing to be done with. It was just not great. It really tested my patience, and my patience didn't win. Let's just keep it at that. But all in all, the end result wasn't that bad really, so I may have exaggerated how bad it went in my head at the time. I wish I took it more seriously and finished it better, but that's sometimes how it goes, and you always get a do-over. So if you have the same problem with a drawing as I had, just print it out again and try it out again, and maybe it will turned out way better. The next one was the SSB 200, so kind of the Nameless brush. At first I thought it went way worse as the Sakura BB Japan, but in the end it wasn't really that bad really. It had way more thin thickness, and I know from a video that covered a manga artist using this kind of brush for shading or at least blackening a wider surface, that it's really cool to use when you, for example, have a character with black hair or a background that you can use black shading. It really is a cool brush to have in your arsenal and to experiment with. It's a cool thing. Anyways, it's time now to re-evaluate what we've drawn, and I think it's best to re-evaluate when you have scanned them in, because you see the flaws best. Now these are just scanned in, they aren't edited yet. The first one we see here is the SSB 200. Now I didn't scan them in the order that I've drawn them. It's a decent one. I think if I edit it somewhat, yeah, it can be one of the candidates to use. I don't really like the top of this block of hair, but we'll see. Next one is the Edding 1200. Now what I already imagined, this isn't usable for me. It's too stiff and it doesn't show any character or dynamic, and I don't like that. For some people it's their style, it's not mine. Then you have this one. It turned out better than I expected, which usually happens with pen. You can see the flaws I talked about in the video, that it's splattered a bit more. Like this over here. It's all because the pen, my hand didn't work the way I wanted to, this too. But it's editable. Now I forgot to make this shade here with the ink pen. You can edit it in a computer, but it's not the same. I've tried before, but you can't really get that pen or traditional brush feel with the computer. Then we have the Stabilo. Well, I actually kind of like how this one turned out. I would have done this differently now because I used this kind of shading later on more, but it's not bad actually, so yeah, it's doable. Traditional brush. Now this is the one I'm really a fan of. This is like smooth, it has character, it has thin thickness. The glasses aren't perfect but doable, same with the watch, but it's something that I can relate to from, yeah, this is my style, right? Please don't bite me. Ooh, this one turned out bad. Well, it's not going to be this one. I don't know what happened with the nose or with the face or anything anatomical here, but this is just really bad. I know I've brushed inking this one. It was also kind of the feel of the pen that it made me rush. I do remember that it felt kind of off. But this is the worst one, definitely. This is the worst one. I think I'm going to use this one as a profile picture, but you're not going to see me color it in this video because we have a limited time to record, but maybe for a different time. And next video I will cover more on how to know how you will deconstruct things. It wasn't clear enough, so I want to improve on that. and I will work on a video that will tell how you will know how to deconstruct things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and greetings from my bird, and I will see you next time. Bye!